every single center has a not self narrative. Now, if you have an undefined center, we say that this is where you are to become wise, this is where you're learning, this is where you're going to school. So this is where you have the opportunity to evolve your awareness and intellect on something. For myself, I have 7 undefined centers. That's a lot of opportunity for me to go to school. There are many places where I get to become wise through awareness and experience. The scary kind of flip side to that means I only have 2 defined centers. I only have 2 places where I'm already like, yeah, I'm born with some awareness here. I'm born with some understanding of this. I got this, you know? But 2 out of 9 potential ones makes me feel like, whoa, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. So let's start with the undefined head. More people have an undefined head than any other center. The head is number 1, and next actually is the ego. Part of the reason for this is because of how few gates are available to the center. There are only 3 gates coming out of the head center. There are only 4 gates coming out of the ego. That small amount of possible gates means that there are less people in the population experiencing definition here. So with only 3 gates in the head center, that means that a huge percentage of the population is going to have an undefined or open head center. Now, the not self narrative of the undefined head center is this need to be inspired, the need to have the answer to the question. Now, if I was a jerk and I wanted to make money, I would do this by consistently convincing you that you don't have the right answer and that you're not inspired. I would make this an insecurity in you through my marketing, and I would use that to sell things. That would be a not self version of this. It would be detrimental to people to experience this. It would not be good. This is not how I want to condition people. This is not how we want to try and make money. What we have to do is rise above this. We have to be able to offer the wisdom, not consistently exacerbate the problem. There is nothing wrong with taking advantage of the not self in your marketing as long as what you're able to provide is actually the transformation that you're selling to them. This is the most important thing to understand about what I'm saying. It's not manipulative to know the not self narrative and use that to your advantage if the outcome is good for the other person, is of a benefit to them. If your only goal is how do I make money off of this insecurity in this person, that's terrible. Please stop. Please quit your job. But if your goal is to actually sell them the transformation, to give them the wisdom, to help them become educated and aware on this, then please do so. Continue to do that. It is not only to their benefit to get the wisdom, it is to your benefit to get the resource in exchange for it. Now that resource is money. You know, this is a money conversation, but all money conversations are resource conversations. Money is symbolic of resources that we need. And for the most part, these resources represent energy that we don't have. We can really look at this like money is representative of exchanging energy. You might be someone who is incredibly wealthy on resources, but doesn't necessarily have a lot of liquid cash. I might say that you are better off to be the person who is wealthy on resources because there is value in those. Cash in many ways, money in many ways, has a limitation. We know that because when things are rare, they become more valuable. You know, a diamond is a diamond is a diamond is a diamond, but if it's the only one that you can find, how much that diamond costs is going to change. If the not self of the undefined head center is getting caught up thinking that you have to have the right answer, that you have to be inspiring, that you have to, that's the not self, okay? The true self can argue against that. The true self can say, you don't need to know the answer to that. Why would you need to know the answer to that? You're just getting caught up worrying about things that don't matter. You're getting hung up on tiny details that aren't really important or relevant for things. You know, the not self always has this insecurity. Oh no, I'm not inspiring. I don't have the answer. Oh no. It's like, it makes you feel insecure because it makes you feel inferior. But if I can take that same thing and I can turn this around so that it doesn't make you feel inferior, so that it makes you feel okay to be what you are. If I want it to be okay for me to have an undefined head center, then I'm going to have some integrated wisdom about how I actually don't need to know that answer. I don't need to be inspiring. I can wait for inspiration. I can see what the answer is. There's a sense of calm that comes from that. In many ways, you know, you're helping people fight their anxiety. Not self, inferior, insecure, that's an anxious way to live your life. But if you can look at everything that you're not and it doesn't freak you out, you don't feel inferior for not having head definition, we've done you a great service. You'll instantly be so much more regulated, so much more accepting, and so much more willing to love yourself. Loving yourself is something that has to happen within human design. You cannot ever become yourself if you don't love yourself. If you don't see yourself as worthy of being lovable, you're never going to have enough self-love and enough self-respect to actually be your own authority. You know, the core of human design is strategy and authority. We can tell you how to use it, but the truth is you won't see yourself as capable of using it if you consistently see yourself as insecure, inferior, not good enough, right? Ugh. So when we're going to be talking about money, and especially when we're going to be doing it through the undefined centers, I want you to understand something. Before I give you these formulas about what the centers are or how to play with this, I want you to know that it's about being able to move somebody out of the not self of the undefined center and taking them to the calm, regulated, true self side that says, it's okay that you're not this. We're selling people a solution. We're selling people a transformation. We're not trying to keep them stuck in these insecure places where we can consistently profit off of their negative self-image. You can make a ton of money in human design. You can make a ton of money applying what human design has to teach you to all types of other systems. But for me to feel good about this information and for you to feel good about how you're implementing it, it needs to be aimed at the true self. It needs to be aimed at the wisdom, the transformation. I'm going to wrap this one up with a pretty heavy-hitting statement from Ra. He said this: only the not self is concerned with making money. That's a bold statement. Only the not self is concerned with making money. You know, the first time I heard that, I was like, oh God, am I wrong for wanting to live? Am I an asshole for wanting to pay my bills? Am I doing this totally incorrectly because I feel like I need money to go grocery shopping? Like, I really had a hard time hearing that the want to make money is an expression of the not self. But I do understand that it's not about the money. It's really not about the money. And in many ways, money is about this not self status. But I recognize that the true self doesn't care at all about making money. And it's not because the true self doesn't want to pay its bills or anything like that. It's that the true self has a level of trust in what it is, and that through strategy and authority, you will be able to acquire the resources that you need in order to experience your signature. But I gotta reiterate that, I gotta say it multiple times, even just to have it sink in for myself. It's not that making money is a not self activity. There needs to be this understanding that the true self cares about signature. It wants to live its differentiated, unique life through strategy and authority and be provided for by the Maya. You can experience your signature as a byproduct of living as yourself. I know that there are so few examples of people doing this. It's really hard to believe that this can be true, that it is true, that it can work. I can understand so much personal resistance to being like, bullshit, I don't believe it. Is it really true that I can actually live strategy and authority, and in that I will have my needs met? You know the song, you can't always get what you want, but you might just get what you need. There's a very good chance that what you want and what you need are very, very different things. And there's a good chance that what you want has been conditioned in you. But I also bet that if we looked at what you wanted, it's linked to your signature. And you think that you have to acquire that thing in order to feel your signature. But what if it's the opposite? What if through strategy and authority, you live the correct life, and that brings you your signature? And in that moment, if somebody said, do you want for anything right now? You could say no. You could say, I'm good. You could say, I got everything that I needed. This is the one I'm willing to bet on.